Yeah, check it out. You remember this? A few months ago I completely rebuilt this driveway so I could plow it in the wintertime, and look how nice it's turned out. Really happy with this. So are they, I believe. I like the little addition they added to this. Makes it a little more homely. So if you can't really tell, there hasn't been a lot of snow this year. I haven't really been putting together a winter snow video, so figured I'd bring you along for the ride today and show you a little bit. Admit, they're a lot braver than I would be. Check it out, just kind of where you go to go ice fishing if you want on this lake, and that's where all the snowmobiles will go to. But yeah, some people decided to drive down there. They don't look stuck, but there's also nobody around, so maybe they are. Maybe they're out ice fishing. I don't know. Goal at hand today is to fix that. So my grill fell off. All the tabs broke off it. So every single tab is broke off. The tabs, the headlights. So it's kind of funny, I had a comment on my Skidoo video that I posted recently that tie wire isn't a good fix for a lot of things. Well, come on, I beg to differ. Look at that, that's already fixed on this side. 2 seconds later. One thing you want to do when you're tie wiring stuff together is just make sure you don't over twist it. Want to say thanks everyone. I do appreciate the subscribes. It is slowly helping my channel grow. All good things take time. So I've put a loop in the wire here in a couple of spots. That's going to allow me to feed it through here, get it all the way in, and then come back up and around and grab it out of there. And that, folks, is why chicken wire is a great option, because you can feed it in and around so many different places. Three in there. I'm missing a few. Okay, let's see if this will start. It's pretty cold out. -9 says the gauge. What am I doing today? We're heading to a customer's place to plow their driveway out. It hasn't been done this year at all, but as you can see on the ground, there really isn't a lot this year, so Really, I'm driving out there in this to see if I can plow it with it. If I can't, I gotta hook onto the Bobcat and get it out here to plow the driveway. But if I'm gonna do that, I need to repair my chain because this driveway is very steep. So there's no hope of me being able to do it without good working chains for the Bobcat, that is. It's really cold out today. My thing quit working just 5 minutes ago, but it was at least -9, I think I said when I was in the shop. So there should be no slippery ice. When ice gets cold around -10, it'll actually quit being slippery because the water freezes. That's really what causes ice to be slippery, is a very thin water layer on the ice. So there's a thing that you guys know. Anyways, yeah, it's nice. This is all plowed, so that's kind of going to be the biggest berm I've got to deal with. That's going to be my only concern. I'll show you in a few minutes when we get there, but yeah, it's like I said, it's pretty freaking steep, so if there's going to be issues, it'll happen to me. There's definitely a little bit more snow on this side of the valley. So we crest this hill, and first things first, it's not terribly slippery, I don't think. So where's my driveway? There it is. That's, can I stop? Okay, I'm in two-wheel drive. If I've got grip and control, we can do this. All right, folks. We as a team here are going to find out if this works or not. I'm going to go into four-wheel drive, and then I'm going to go into 4-low, see if this works. Two or 3 years ago, I was plowing it with my Bobcat, I believe. Yeah, I was plowing it with my Bobcat, and I had a series of bad luck sort of things happened with it. The tire went flat, like you see I'm always fighting with, and the chain fell off. I think I actually broke a chain because I was using pickup truck chains. We're pushing this big berm that the grader puts here pretty easily. I'm actually going to go spin around and push the other snow uphill. The last thing I want to do is slide anywhere. That's the one thing with the Duramax, they're not the best 4x4 system, so you got to be careful with it. They will break. There it is. It's slippery. Here's a nice ice layer under it. Let's master lock. I don't have a master key on this. I think it might just be frozen. That's why I always bring a torch. I'll just give it a little bit of heat. I'm not confident that this is the right key. The hardest part's getting the flame set so it's not going to melt anything. Come on, baby, give me some luck. Oops. Well, that's not the luck I wanted. I just broke my key ring. Good thing I didn't drop any keys. Oh, it was the right key, guys. not gonna lie, that was scary for a while. We're down there at least. What's a GoPro accessory you can't live without? I'll go first. Tellison battery charger. It's remote, it charges by USB-C. This thing lasts a very long time. Looks like we're down to 1 bar, but I can charge it with anything. Yeah, I love this little battery charger. It's been keeping me going throughout the winter, I'll tell you that. Without this thing, you guys wouldn't have any videos. Okay, well that was a really good amount of healthy fear. Need that every once in a while. We can get down here, but you know, we've got that to contend with. Contend with those, I usually just beat on them. Slowly and steady wins the race. Just keep pushing on it. Don't ever force it too much because you'll drive up on the snow. And if you drive up on the snow, you can't really go anywhere. So you wait until you see your blade go up, or you just simply stop. Don't fight it. Back up a little. Blade back down. Then you'll crawl over your pile and end up high-centered on it and stuck. If you can plow your way in, you can pretty much get anywhere with these trucks, but... Yeah, it's hard to show you how steep this is, but it is steep. The ground is on this level here, if it's not showing on the camera. Like it's up there, but we did it. That's all we had to do today. Believe it or not, parts for my snowmobile are in, so we can go pick those up. It is February 29th today, people. A lot of people say that this is an extra day, a spare day, a day to do good things and stuff. I believe there should be a purge today. I think that on February 29th, we should have a full-blown purge. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Another day plowing all our mailboxes. I've come all the way down into town to realize there's no snow, but I found some goodies for the shop. We got a nice solar panel. Come on, Mike. We got a nice breaker panel and timer and all that stuff, along with this great big blower fan. So that's going to be my exhaust fan in the roof. All of that stuff for 150 bucks. So I got about $500 or $600 worth of things, which is really cool. I'm very happy with my purchase, and I'm really not content with this frickin' lineup. They're all following that plow though, what do you do? Yeah, we're not even plowing down here. I met this guy with the panel, and yeah, I've continued on my way, so towards home. I got a lot more snow up there. Probably do my loop. Anyways, nothing fancy going on today, so I won't bore you with the same thing 200 times in a row. I'll let you know if something cool happens. Still people out there ice fishing. It's pretty warm, but we've had a few cold snaps, so there's probably a decent amount of ice now, I would think. I guess our first steps, check out the coolant leak, figure out where it's coming from. So I've got this compression tester kit. This was bought for a Kenworth. So let's cross our fingers real tight and hope it works for this. Oh. There is some good in the world today, folks. I don't know if it's the right thread or not, but it feels like it's threading on there nicely. So I don't know if that's leaking out of there. Oh, that would be leaking out of here. You got to clamp the, should work now. Yeah. So I've got that vice gripped off into there, and then you can apply pressure. Now likely I won't need a lot. It's dropping slowly, which indicates a leak. So I'm just under here. That's rubbing. That's probably the culprit. So you see that way up there? I'm gonna have to pressurize it, but it looks like it might be coming from the top of that hose, which either means that the clamp is loose or the clamp cut through the hose. But if it's coming right from the top, cross your fingers for me. So I tried every angle possible in the box to get you guys to see, but I couldn't. But I got down there with a little 1/4-inch ratchet, 8mm socket, and I got probably 2 turns on that screw. So pump it back up and see if it leaks. I bet it will, but this one. That's 10 psi. Where are you leaking from, buddy? It was at 10, it's 9, so we're losing pressure somewhere. I wish I had my hoist up because I could lift it up in the air and do this easier, but I'll try to tighten that clamp more, I guess. It did look like it was coming from the top, but I'm skeptical of being that lucky. So anyways, it's really hard to get to. It's way down in there. You can't even see it. But I've got to get on, and my fingers aren't small, my hands aren't small, and yeah, it hasn't proven to be fun. But I don't see any other wet spots. And if I don't see the wet spots, I can't really do anything about them, can I? I tightened that clamp and it got better, so I'll see if it keeps getting better or not. Now, I don't want to go too tight and break the clamp either, but like that's as tight as I would expect a hose clamp to work. I've been doing this long enough, I've got a feel for it, so I'm going to trust my instincts. The worst part is it doesn't look terrible to change, but you just can't get your hands in here. Now you can see much easier what I've been trying to get to. So I think that might be leaking. Now that I can get to it, I can investigate further. So no matter what, I gotta drain the coolant here. The top side of the lower rad hose has a little bit of a kink in it. It's twisted. Not that that's my leak, but that's the vicinity of where the leak's coming from. When I grabbed my hand around the hose and felt the kink, I noticed it was all wet. So what's happened is either it's kinked and it's caused a leak on the seam, or it's leaking around the hose clamp area, leaking around the sealing surface, but it's got a little weep hole there and it's unrelated to the kink and it's just kinked anyways. So one of two scenarios, we're going to find out what's going on. A new bucket it was. So the best way to drain the coolant on these is to pull this inner fender. Is that and it's a spring clamp. Awesome. That feels like it took forever. I went for lunch, I made a pizza, I came back and it was still draining. So finally got the plug out of it now. My goal now is I'm going to remove that lower rad hose. Okay, I got the hose clamp loose. Now I want to grab a screwdriver and pry it loose. So a really good trick you can use is to take a screwdriver. Which means I can get the kink out of it, and we'll have a good look and see if that fixes our leak problem. So I hear it draining more coolant from over there. And my suspicions are true. There's damage on the hose. On the inside right there, you can see there's damage to the hose. So that's where my leak was. So I'll show you on this hose. This is my spare hose. This is kind of the same idea, but there's a big slit right in here on it. And what's holding the hose clamp on is one of these doodads. See how this one's ripped? This one was tore off entirely apparently, but I think there might have been a little bit extra hose right here that was cut off at one point. And I think I'm going to do the same to that one. I think I'm just going to nub that off and save changing the whole hose. Even I can't see what I'm doing for the record, guys. Sorry. So we removed the bad spot. You can literally see where the bad spot was. No, you can't because I cut through it, but it was right along the seam where the hose clamp was, so I guess there's a really good chance that it was the hose clamp that cut through it. There's the faulty piece, yep, right where the hose clamp was. Right where that teat was that held the clamp on. It was all dingled. We can slide our hose back up into place and cross our fingers oh so tightly that the freeway worked. So I got it back up in place. You can see, I just got to tighten the clamp up. So, okay, I got that tight and on there. Now I'm going to tighten the drain plug and pressurize it and see if it drops. I think we darn near maxed out our bucket. And if you look at the one in behind it there, if it wouldn't have caught what's there, this one would have overflowed, I think. So I've got that rate on 15 PSI. Come back in a little bit, see if it dropped. So in the amount of time it took me to put this back together, it dropped half a PSI. Now remember, that might not seal perfectly. Before I pumped this up to 15 and it was down to 10 and 5 in a matter of no time. Sorry for kicking you. It's not dripping underneath, even though there's only a squirt of coolant left in it. That lower rad hose still was full. So if it was leaking from down there, it would still be. It's held 14.5 pounds for at least 15-20 minutes now. Like I said, I put this all back together, so I'm going to dump the coolant back in it, and we're going to hope for the best and cross our fingers that maybe a free fix will last another season. Oh, not my smartest idea. Damn it. Coolant everywhere. Gotta give her time. If it's not pouring out, it's not leaking. Hey. we're watching for leaks. While we're watching for leaks, I just glanced outside now that the truck's fixed. It's power snowing. I didn't fix it to go plow snow right away. We're gonna call that fixed. It's not leaking and it passed the pressure test. So that's all we had to cut off. Just a little tiny bit, just to make it work. I don't know about you, but free's always a good fix. Check it out, new tools came. Oh yeah. Okay. That's going to be the intake and exhaust. This is going to be where the hot air comes out. It's going to be diesel in the top. And we got wires on the back side. What's in box number 2? We have all of our goodies. So that's to duct the air where you want it. That's an intake. That's exhaust pipe. That's a muffler because they do get screaming pretty loud. And that's going to be an intake screen so no mice can get in there. And all the hardware. I think this is just so if you... Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Oh. I was wrong. That's gonna go in here. Okay. Does that just clip onto here then? Well, no matter what, they want you using this little intake hose. Okay. And then these are for the tire machine, which I've been waiting for this for a while. I'll show you what it does in a bit. There's 4 clips on it. Okay. So for those of you that aren't familiar with these, this is just a regular diesel to air heating unit, and then they've made it all one kit with a little enclosure and a fuel tank and the built-in fuel pump, so that you can kind of make this a portable unit. That's what they've done. So that's kind of really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. This was $150 plus all the government's cut. So the nice thing with these is they're really, really easy to modify. Right? Like the fuel tank is just simply that. So you can take the fuel line and run it just about anywhere into a large capacity tank if you so choose. And then I'm looking here, looks like it's got a remote. I wasn't even necessarily aware of the remote. That's awesome. How often do you see something that comes with batteries installed? That's crazy. So I got it up on a couple of blocks because the way the exhaust comes out, I've bent that pipe. But it sticks out beneath the legs, so you can't just sit it on a table. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. I might just bolt a couple of 2x4s or something to the bottom of it so that it can free float. And I'm also not sure about the exhaust. I don't know if I'm really going to run it in the shop here. These heaters are kind of designed to heat 200 square feet. The shop's 2,000. So I'm just testing it out in here. This is kind of more or less for my greenhouse. But it would be nice on a ridiculously cold night when it's minus 30 or worse if I can just leave this little guy ticking along and maybe keep it like minus 5 or 10 in the shop instead of having it drop down to minus 30. The whole point is that if the concrete stays warm, the shop will kind of stay warm. I should have done in-floor heating, but that costs money, and I don't have any. Let's not get into the habit of spilling on this thing. So it holds 5-ish liters according to the gauge there. They say it runs 8 hours on a gallon, so 4 liters. Good enough for testing. Can I get a contact? I can't see anything, so let me know if it works. Okay. Okay, cool. Oh, okay. It speaks to me. Now I'm actually quite familiar with diesel heaters. So to start off here, it's got to pump all the fuel from the tank through the burn unit, and that usually takes 3 or 4 cycles. So we're gonna see how long it takes. We're gonna see how long it takes with this guy here. Does the remote work? 95 degrees Fahrenheit is as hot as it'll let me. Oh, no, it's going up. 96. 96.8 is the hottest it's going to let me go, I guess. What about minimum? 46. So that's about 8 degrees or 10 degrees Celsius. Anyways, it should heat up to 46 degrees then, and then it will shut off. So come back in a bit when it's roaring. Now it's doing stuff. I might help it along here. Hopefully you can see the fuel. And that's why it takes once or twice to actually do something, because it's got to go into the unit, and really it needs to build pressure. No way. That's getting warm. I think that just lit up on the first try. Holy. I don't know if you can see it, but it's smoking just barely. All I did was press start. I've never had a diesel heater just work on the first try. These things are usually so finicky. Just watch it run for a bit. See that change in color? It's definitely warm air. And just for gits and shiggles, let's see how warm this. Let's see how warm it makes the shop. Oh, it's definitely doing something. It's no blast heater, and it certainly doesn't compare to a big wood stove like that, but again, if it can just sit here and tick away, when it's minus 30 or 40 outside and just keep it a little bit more bearable in here, because normally I'll pull my pickup in here so I can start it when I need to go somewhere. That's kind of the whole goal of it. I could even just aim it at my pickup and let it go. By the looks of it, it's got a time on it, so I can probably go into the settings somehow and set a timer for it. I don't know how to do that yet. I've yet to open the manual. All I've done is add fuel, hook the battery up, and start it up, and it's worked. So very, very impressed so far. We'll see how it goes. And I told you I'd show you where this goes. So when I bought this kit, that screws onto here and pinches the wheel. It came with this ring for what I assumed to be like Honda Civic rims maybe or something, and it came with this ring, which I thought was for my pickup. However, the rim diameter of this, I can't show you. The rim diameter of this doesn't fit into the wheel. So, for example, over top there on the big pickups, this one just slid right inside. So I couldn't pinch it onto the tire machine. So back to Amazon I went and I found this, a 6-inch tire cup. I thought, perfect, that'll be the thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite work with the thing I got. It's tight enough, it'll do the clamping that it needs to do, but I don't know, it's just annoying. Everything seems to be made to work together with this Chinese stuff, and then I come across something that's just very different, and it's like, it's sort of close, but it's not, you know? If that would stay locked in there. I fiddled with it for 5 or so minutes, and it, like, I don't think it's a big deal. Alright, end rant. Not the right shoes for the operation. And of course I got snow in. There's a snake in my boot. Alright. Nope. I don't even know if that's going to melt that or not, but I'm curious here. Oh, the unit's kind of smoking, I think. I don't know if what I'm doing is smart or stupid or what. Probably stupid. I was wrong. Oh. I don't know what I did. 504. What did I do? I pressed and hold. I shouldn't have pressed and hold. I'll come. Okay, so I said that these were like a 1 speed. It'll heat up and do its thing and then shut off. I was wrong. Check it out. If I turn this down. See how much quieter it got? So it is warming up in here. My wood stove is just barely on. It's not really putting out any heat yet, just being freshly started, but this is where this was clicking. And I thought that was high, so they've kind of changed these since I played with them last. So that's cool. Color of that now too. Bright purple. Okay, I'm curious if this muffler actually makes a difference with the sound. It's not that it's loud, but it drones, you know? Bends so easily. Way better. I'm blown away how much of a difference that little thing made. Wow. Holy. I bet you that pipe gets a lot hotter now though. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Hope you can see how purple that's going. Okay, so first impressions of this heater is very, very good. It works, it gets hot. What blows me away is that it worked right out of the box, putting fuel in it, hooking a battery, and it just worked. Normally you have to prime these things and fight with these things. I don't know, it's a good sign that maybe I got a good one for once. So no point just letting it run in here. For any of you guys that are concerned about the exhaust, look around. It's pretty wide open in here. Like you can see air gaps through the roof. There's air gaps through the sides of the tarp. So there's no chance of any kind of monoxide poisoning in here right now. Once this is insulated, that'll be different. But if I did, just running the cool down cycle. But yeah, if I did choose to run that thing inside, it would either get plumbed outside the way it is, or I would run like one of those great big old cast iron radiators in your house sort of thing. I would run the exhaust through that. So the main purpose of this little fella was for the greenhouse, and again, if it gets stupid cold in here, so I'm gonna end this video on this here, and I'll call it a win. Thanks for watching, and take care.